Welcome to Jill Cameron Creations, coloring for card makers. Flock, yeah. Oh, come on. This stamp set from WPlus9 is just stinking adorable. The Flock, yeah, is the one that has the flamingos on it, and the other one is the ostrich one. And both of them are cute, and I love the Flock, yeah stamp set. But I had to have the ostrich. I just had to have the ostrich. Just had to. So we're going to do something a little different. I don't have the coordinating dies for this. I wanted to see how well I could use my Cameo Studio Silhouette Cameo instead of using the coordinating dies for absolutely everything. Save me a little bit of money. So what I did was I went ahead and stamped this on 80-pound Nina Solar white cardstock with some Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which is Copic safe. And I'm going to put this on my pick scan mat. And you will see me pick off some of the little stray things here, and I'm leaving that in because that is important, that you want to make sure that your mat is smooth and free of debris. And I always like to put my stuff up in the top left hand corner if I can. On the pick scan mat, what you're able to do is actually take a picture of whatever you want to and put it in Silhouette Design Studio, and it will cut it out for you. You want to make sure that the corners of the mat are laying flat, and you want to make sure that with your picture that you get the entire mat and some of the background. So I did that, and I videoed how to do this in Silhouette. You open your studio, you click on the pick scan icon over on the right. And because I was recording, my computer was a little slow, so I apologize. The next thing that we're going to do is import our image from our camera. And went to go and find that. And it's the last image here. And Studio automatically picks it up and says, okay, here we go. Let me put this in here and see what we have. It changes the mat and everything for you, so you don't have to worry about any page setup or anything like that. It already knows that it's on a pick scan mat. Next, we're going to trace our image. And again, my computer was being slow because I was recording the video. And it will decide to work this time. So I have my little cross hatches, and I just select the area that I want to trace. And tracing and that kind of thing kind of takes a little bit of practice to know what you're looking for, but what you are looking for is a solid line on the outside. We're not caring about what's on the inside of these images. We want what's on the outside. We want to make sure that that outline is perfect and there's no holes in it, no gaps in the yellow that we're seeing on the screen. So to do that, you're going to adjust the threshold and the low pass filter. And I have really good luck adjusting just those two things and not worrying about anything else. We just want to make sure that that line on the outer edge is perfectly smooth all the way around, and we're going to trace the outer edge of it because, like I said, we don't care about the inside of this thing. So after we do that, we're going to release the compound path, because when you trace this, it traces it as two separate images, but in the mind of the program itself, it's still just one big image. So we're going to release the compound path where it put it together, so we have two separate images. And then we're going to select both of them, just roll over and highlight, and we're going to offset that. And I like my offset at 0.035. And that gives me a nice little white border around all of my images. And what you have to do to make sure that it's just the border and not you're not cutting on that black line is click on the inside of the image and delete that inside line. Then we're just going to send this to Studio, and because I turn my machine off all the time and it's connected by Bluetooth, I have to select and find my machine. and that's just literally doing that, and it's found and it's done. I have no more issues with connection on that thing. It's amazing. So I found it. I make sure that my material is on heavyweight cardstock, 80 pounds. My action is to cut, and I'm using the auto blade on my Silhouette, and then I'm gonna send it, and it sends it right on over to my machine, and it cut it out beautifully, as we'll see here in just a second. Ta-da! Now, if you're concerned about, well, I don't want to have to deal with the fiddly pieces while I'm coloring, because I do not recommend that you color and then cut. I recommend that you stamp, then cut, then color. Use some micropore tape or some washi tape on the back of the image and color it. Just put it back in the little hole on your negative space. Works perfectly. No problems whatsoever. So we are going to use some RV markers, and this is RV02, and I'll have everything listed over on my blog specifically, but this is the RV02, 04, 06, and 09. I've been using these markers a lot lately. They're just really pretty. I'm going to color the balloon. I'm not really doing anything fancy. What I did on the top there was I left a little place for me to put a highlight with the lightest RV color, and I wanted kind of the middle part of the balloon at an angle to be a little lighter, just give that illusion more so of a translucent balloon a little bit. Now, I did not know what an ostrich colors should be, so I looked it up. Ta-da! Looking for an ostrich. And I'm sorry, you're going to hear my cat growling at herself. She's chasing her tail right now. And so I went with some E44, E47, and E49 for this. It was a little too, it was a little too green for me, I think, on the final. So I did warm it up a little bit with an E21. Now, what I discovered is that an ostrich's neck, head, and legs are more pinky looking. They look more like, you know, fleshy colors. So what I did was I grabbed my E04, which is that oddly pink brown, and I did some shadows on the back side of him as if the light source were coming from the top right of the ostrich. And then I just colored it like I would skin for a human stamp or anything like that. And just colored that in with E04, and then I did an E11 to blend it out. And the pink marker is the RV02, which worked amazingly well at blending that out and making it look like a little pink areas on him, which is what the picture showed that I was looking at. So these are a little too desaturated for me, so what I did in the end was go over all of these with the RV02, oh no, I take that back, an E21 to just kind of warm it up a little bit, and it worked perfectly. I didn't do anything fancy. I just put little dots of color to make it look a little uneven, like he had some variation in his feathers on the main part of his body, and then that top wing is actually lighter, so I do those with a W3, 5, and no, 5 is the darkest. I did it with a W5, 3, and 1. That's what I did. So there, I'm warming it up a little bit, making it a little bit more pink, scrubbed off the tip of my marker, so the next time I went to use it, it didn't carry that color anywhere. And just putting a little shading in on those feathers, putting little lines of color in, nothing really fancy because it is a little cartoon ostrich there, and I didn't want it to be over the top colored or anything. I wanted it to still look kind of cartoony. Can't say that word today. So now, white gel pens are your friends. anytime you have a mistake, just use a white gel pen on the edge of it. And guess what? You can't ever tell it. And if somebody wants to nitpick it and see, oh, hey, I have this white spot over here, guess what? You don't need to send them a card anymore. I wanted to highlight on the eyes and did that. So now we've got to figure out what we want to do in the background. So, and for our sentiment, and I'm doing the flock, yeah, it's your birthday, for the sentiment. And I'm just going to use the same paper on white, and I'm going to stamp it in some Simon Says bubblegum pink ink. And I'm sorry I was off camera. I didn't realize it until just a second now. I'll realize that I'm off camera and scoot everything up. There you go. And I'm just using my Misty to line everything up. Make sure everything's all straight. And I decided that was the way that I was going to go with that. And I pulled my stuff out. So I made sure that I didn't get ink on anything else because I'm famous for doing that. And I think I was looking to see if I wanted to use a different color of paper here, and decided no, that's not the way I wanted to go. Then I wanted to go with pink ink. So I went and got me 2 pink inks, and one was from My Favorite Thing Stamps, and I wasn't really digging that ink with my pink balloon, but I did like the bubblegum pink ink with Simon Says stamp. There it is. Ta-da! And so that's the one I went with. Bright, vibrant. I stamped it twice. Made sure I get good coverage. Nothing's all splotchy. And there's no heat embossing on this card. There's no anything fancy. There's just nothing fancy on this card. I take that back. There is something fancy on this card, but it's not in how we're doing it. And just trim this down. I love my reinforced paper trimmer because I know exactly where it's going to cut, and I know exactly where the blade is going to land. And even on these tiny fiddly little pieces like this, I can still do this. And instead of even remotely attempting to fuss with it, I have a little pointy stick thing that's a paper piercer that I'll use to hold it in place. So ta-da, really like the balloon with the ostrich and trying to figure out what I want to do, and I decide in the end that's about where I want everything. So there we go. I wanted y'all to see how my creative thought process kind of comes out here. Sorry about my really old sweatshirt. I'm 41 years old and I've had that sweatshirt since I was a sophomore in high school. So it's kind of falling apart. The wonky stitches frames just fit perfectly for the funness of this card, and I put that through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine and ran that through, and that just fits perfectly. Everything right there. And I think I'm going to hang the sentiment off the edge of that a little bit. Yay! I did not like the black. Thought that's what I was going to go with, make everything really pop. I didn't like it. I said, nope, 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 nope. Looked at it, didn't like it, so I put the black away. And I was looking for something else. Maybe I had some... I have a stash of paper that is in this little slotted thing in front of me. And... sorry. I was expecting an email. I forgot that was even in there. Sorry. I decided to use some silver glitter paper. I don't use glitter paper often. I don't use mirrored cardstock often. And I said, ooh, I have that. And for a birthday card, that would be flock, yeah, fantastic. So I went and got that. This is not Simon Says stamp. It is, I think it's Stampin' Up, very honestly, because I've had it for a really long time. And the glitter does come off of it. It doesn't stink, but the glitter does come off of it. And you'll see me pick up my hands here in just a second and look at my hands and go, ah. But we're going to put that glitter paper down, and then we're going to put the we're going to put the glitter cardstock down, and then put the, I'm sorry, my screen died on me and I didn't want to record everything all over again, so I just picked up where I left off. I used liquid adhesive to put the pool color down on the glitter because it needs to have some more grip there so that it can stick to it and stay there. For the ostrich and the sentiment, I'm going to put those on foam tape. And yeah, I buy the big mama rolls of the foam tape because I used foam tape all the time. Loved foam tape. My Fiskars scissors that have Teflon on them are amazing because guess what? That stuff doesn't stick to them and you can cut the foam tape in half really, 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 really easily. And I have my tiny little Fiskars scissors to get in those little areas while it's on a stamp. Absolutely love me some Fiskars products. Fiskars been making stuff for years. Why not trust them? I love them. So we're going to put this on here, and I'm not going to press it down really, really, really hard. And the reason I'm not going to do that is because we still have to put our balloon back there. I just tapped it down so I got it in the right place, and just use some liquid adhesive because that's the easiest thing to do. Pick up the ostrich's little head and hook the balloon around his neck. Ta-da! Now we have an ostrich balloon. And flock, yeah. And it's all done. I want to say thank you today for joining me, and have a great day. Bye!